Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Real Estate Playbook. My name is Andrew, and today I'm going to take a few minutes to break down some common confusion when it comes to different loan programs. Now, if you're a first-time home buyer, or even if this is your second home, or if you're newer to real estate on the agent side, this video is going to help you break down two of the most common loan programs. Now, on the lending side, there's a bazillion different programs you can pick from, but I'm going to break down two of the most common, especially if you're a first-time home buyer or newer to the market. So these two programs that I'm going to break down are what's called an FHA loan and your regular, just conventional, standard vanilla loan. Okay, so let's start with FHA. On an FHA loan, the first kind of misconception I want to break down for you is it stands for Federal Housing Administration, not first time home buyer. A lot of people believe that FHA stands for first. They think the F stands for first for some reason, but it's not. So you don't have to be a first time home buyer to have an FHA loan. And the category that an FHA loan falls into is what's called a government loan. Just like a VA loan, a Veterans Affairs loan, these are loans that are backed by the government. So these are government loans. Some common things you want to understand about an FHA loan. Just like I said, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer, but getting more into the guideline specifics of this program is you only need to have a 3.5% down payment. So whether you're a first-time home buyer or not, you only need to have that 3.5%. Okay, 3.5% down payment. Another big thing to notice with an FHA loan is the flexibility in the guidelines when it comes to your credit. If you ran into a situation where you had, some more late payments, maybe a bankruptcy, maybe some charge-off accounts, the FHA loan is going to be a little bit more flexible towards that. It's not as strict when it comes to those credit guidelines. So that's one big difference there. Maybe one of the biggest, I would say, in terms of the two loan programs is the way that the mortgage insurance is determined on this program. Now, remember, mortgage insurance is something that you put down, that you pay on your loan if you're putting less than a 20% down payment on your home. Now, on an FHA loan, there's actually two types. You're going to have upfront mortgage insurance and monthly. So, upfront mortgage insurance is something that you pay that's in addition to the monthly, that either gets wrapped onto your loan amount or you pay for it as a closing cost. So essentially, you take your loan amount times 1.75%, and that's what your upfront mortgage insurance premium is going to be. So on this program, you do have you have twice the amount of mortgage insurance, which is important to know. Another thing that is important to know, especially if you're an agent, you definitely want to pay attention to this. FHAs are going to have stricter appraisals. So if you have a home that has things that need to get repaired, such as even paint that needs to get scraped off or something, or loose railing, FHA appraisers are going to require that needs to be, fixed and completed before the loan can fund. So the appraisals are a little bit more strict and just frankly a little bit more funky when it comes to an FHA loan. So definitely take note of that if you're a realtor. Lastly, the FHA loan does let you go to a higher debt to income ratio, which in layman's terms is the amount you can qualify for. So they'll let you qualify for a little bit more based on your income. So that's important to know. Let's transition here and let's break down kind of the key points of a conventional loan. Now, a conventional loan can be called a bunch of different things. It could be called the Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae. Those are the two, most common investors of a conventional loan. So you might hear it as Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae. You may even hear it as an agency loan. All of that stuff means the same. Conventional, Freddie, Fannie, agency. We're all talking about the same thing. When it comes to down payment wise, on a conventional loan, if you are a first-time home buyer, you can go as low as 3%. If you are not a first-time home buyer, the lowest you can go to is 5%. So a little difference there, whereas in FHA, it's a flat of what the minimum can be. A big difference between an FHA loan and a conventional, like I said, is the mortgage insurance. On a conventional, there's only monthly mortgage insurance. There is no upfront, it's only monthly. However, on the monthly mortgage insurance for a conventional loan, That's going to be broken down into your financials specifically. So it's based off of you. Now there's a whole bunch of factors that go into mortgage insurance, but this is going to vary depending on your specific situation. Whereas opposed, I don't think I mentioned, but on an FHA loan, it's streamlined, it's flat, it's the same for everybody, no matter what your credit is and all the other, financial information. Whereas on conventional, that's gonna adjust depending off of you. The appraisals are standard. Basically, if the home is not gonna, cause harm to somebody, there's nothing that's obviously, concerning that needs to be fixed. The appraisals are usually, a lot more straightforward in that aspect. The guidelines are a little bit tighter. Again, this is the conventional, conforming, standard, vanilla. This is like the basic square box of a loan. So the guidelines are going to be a little bit tighter. And then lastly, just overall, the costs are going to be a little bit lower on a conventional loan because you don't have that upfront mortgage insurance. Now, those are some of the big differences between an FHA loan and a conventional loan. Now, I know there is a ton of different nuances with these loan programs, just as there is with any loan program, but my goal in sharing this with you was to give you a, 10,000 foot overview of the basics of these different programs. So now I'm just going to kind of go through some scenarios on when you may want to use one over the other. A common one here, like we've talked about on credit, if you are somebody who's got less than ideal credit, FHA is probably your friend. If you have strong credit, conventional is going to be your friend. If you are looking for a program that's got a little bit looser rules, guidelines, some more flexibility in the credit, and the approval status, FHA is going to be your friend. If you're somebody who is bringing a bigger down payment, conventional is going to be your friend. Say you're bringing 10%, 15, maybe even you're bringing 20% because you're bringing the equity from a previous home. Conventional is going to be a better option for you because on this loan, if you're putting more than 20% down, you're not even going to have mortgage insurance. On this program, you're going to have mortgage insurance in some way, shape, or form, no matter what the down payment is. So if you're bringing a bigger down payment, this would be a great option because that monthly mortgage insurance could be less, or you may not even have it depending on your scenario. Another scenario here is if you have more of a challenging appraisal. You'd want to lean towards the conventional because the appraisal is more straightforward. So, like I said again, there's a bunch of different nuances and scenarios. That's where you'd want to take this offline and go meet with a trusted loan officer and go through your specific situation. But like I said, this was really just aimed at helping you get a big grip, big understanding of these different loan programs because oftentimes these are the two common ones that you're going to hear about. So I hope that was helpful for you guys out there. If you're a realtor or a home buyer or homeowner, really the goal of my channel is just to help bring value to you, help you in your career, help you in your home purchase, help you in the investment you've already made as a home, and just bring value to you that way. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments. I'd love to help you. Besides that, have a blessed day.